Okay, everyone. This is going to be a little bit of I'll try to make it quick, video on how I do my finishing prep when it comes to mixing finishes and then my system, because I am a one-man shop and this kind of stuff can be very expensive, complicated, cumbersome, and it's very annoying to deal with sometimes. And I have a system that I put down that I really love, and hopefully some of these things can help you with your system and make things a little bit easier, because the finishing aspect of woodworking is something that's a completely different animal. You can build things and do great at it, but when it comes to finishing, if that's not locked down perfectly, it just ruins the whole project. So some things here that hopefully you can take from this and will help you out. So I like to use the PPS adapters and disposable cups, just because it makes cleaning the guns and switching between different products so much easier and less waste on your part to throw out stuff and dispose of certain things that just become a pain in the ass. So these are not PPS, or I'm sorry, these are not the 3M brand. These are off-brand, but they're amazing. They work the same. There's really, in my opinion, no difference. They still accomplish the same thing. So you have the cups, the hard cups, the liners that go in, and then you also have the caps that go on that just kind of clip into there, and then you thread this to secure that on there. Then once you attach the cup and twist, you're ready to go. And the great thing about this system is with these cup guns, as they call them, or Hvlp guns, or whatever you want to call it, but using compressed air, the problem is they're all gravity fed, so you have to spray and then the product comes down. With these cups, it creates a vacuum inside, so you can actually, once you depress the air out of there, it sucks all the air out of the cup, pulling it into the gun. So now with these guns, you can actually spray upside down inside a cabinet or do certain details. So that ends up making these guns, which I prefer to use, so much easier to use in all kinds of applications. Now back to what I use here. Sorry. So what I have here are the mixing lids that I sell. That I use these and I love them. Basically, you can put this on your product. I have two types of lids. One's for water-based products, one's for solvent-based products. But to know the difference, because I get this asked a lot, if you buy a solvent-based lid, it's only meant for solvents. If you buy a water-based lid, you can use it with water-based and solvents, and the difference is the metal shaft that the blade is connected to, it's made of a different material. Now I use all solvent products for the most part, so I mostly buy solvent lids because they are just slightly less expensive, but long term, if you're not looking to buy a bunch of lids, it's more economical to buy the water-based, because you can switch between water-based and solvent-based products, because you can clean these things out, you can do whatever you want with them. And then I'll show you while I'm at it the lids themselves. So this is one I actually am reusing. I had it on a solvent-based clear sealer, and now I put it in a in a bucket of lacquer thinner, let it soak, and then cleaned it. Used like a disposable brush, just wiped it all in there, everything, dried it up, and now it's ready to use with another product. So you can reuse these lids for different products, which is amazing. They're not a one and done kind of a thing. They have spring-loaded locking levers that lock to the inside rim of a gallon, your standard gallon can. They have a mixing lid that you can take out, mixing paddle, whatever you want to call it, that just pretty much threads there. And then what I do is I put my drill chuck secured on here like this one, and once I start using the drill, then I can start mixing the product and mixing it thoroughly without ever opening the can. It's all inside, no mess, no nothing. Once you're done mixing it, well, let me go back to a previous point and then I'll keep moving forward. This inner rim right here is a silicone or some kind of a silicone material that does not deteriorate. I leave these things sitting in a bucket. If I forget them, I'll let them sit in a bucket for a week or two in lacquer thinner, and nothing happens to these seals, which is amazing. There's another brand out there that has a white foam, and forget it. Those things, I've used them. I'm telling you right now, they're absolutely horrible. these things are amazing. Once I found these, I was sold. So I want you guys to know about these because these things are absolutely awesome. And these are actually mostly used in automotive industry, so that's where I got the idea from. And now I'm trying to introduce them into the wood finishing industry because they're just so useful. Now, with these lids, you can mix your products thoroughly, like I'm about to do. I'm about to spray a Renner solvent-based acrylic for a top coat on some commercial products here. So now as I mix my ratios here, I know exactly what I'm mixing here. I'm not going to go through the details, but we have, so we're going to go exactly where I need to measure to. The great thing about these cups too, you can measure to exactly where you want to. With the pour lid, you literally just pull the lever, pour as much as you like, and then that's it, done. What I like to do as a little extra, keeping my lids clean here, I have what I learned from my supplier, Jack, over at Woodworks. He has a plunger can, and in here he puts lacquer thinner. What you do is you dab down here, it brings lacquer thinner up to the top on your rag, so no having to open, pour, do all this. You've applied lacquer thinner right to here, and just clean off anything that might have dripped, or just to keep the lid clean if you want. You know, if you're really protective about it like I am, I'll just do that, dab it around, clean it, good to go, and that's it. Now, the second part, when I'm now mixing my catalyst, I have these pour lids. So these ones are sealed. They have the same sealed gasket inside. These ones don't come with a locking lever, but they come with latches here that you can spring them off to the side to take off the whole thing. But when you want to put it back on, you just push it enough down to hear them click. And they're on there. This thing ain't going nowhere. So now with my catalyst, because it likes to harden on top here, I'm going to pour exactly how much of the catalyst I want. And this is always a very, what I would like to say is just a painful process to always get the right mixtures of your product, your catalyst, your reducers, everything perfect, so that down the road, there's nothing that can happen that will cause your finishes to fail, or you did something wrong in the process. You know, you followed exactly what the manufacturer said, so you have no issues down the road. So now I'm going to mix exactly what I need for the catalyst, because I know. Perfect. There we go. It's that easy. No cleanups, no mix-ups, no nothing. So now, like I did before, I'm going to use my oil plunger here, put a bunch of lacquer thinner, clean off any little bits here, and that's it. Then there's the catalyst part. Now I have my reducers. Same thing. I keep it in a pour lid that I'll just use here, and then now add the rest of my reducer. Perfect. And let's add a little bit more, make sure it's a little more fluid. There we go. Now, what I have here are steer sticks that I got from Home Depot, and then I'll sit here and stir the product, mix it thoroughly. But while I'm mixing this, I'll explain a few things here. Now, these lids I do sell on my site just because they're very hard to find. So I want to make it readily available for you guys to purchase them if you're interested in them. I already had a lot of people buy them, and so far got very positive feedback. Everyone loves it. They're just such a great thing to have, that as you're trying to do finishing products, you know, if you're a person like me who's a cabinet shop, or if you are someone who's a painter that goes on job sites, just how much easier that you have these lids that you can just put onto a product, pour out, do what you want to do, and there's no cleanup, there's no messes, there's no nothing. And then you can reuse these lids again and again and again. It's an investment at first, but a well worth investment. I mean, if I had to show you how many lids that I have personally for myself as one person, it's ridiculous. But the thing is, they're just so useful. I can't live without them anymore. They make everything, this whole process just becomes such a pain if you don't have a clear system on what to do and how to keep things organized. So as I go through and kind of see what I got here, yep, we're good. Okay, Now I'm going to clean this off. Here, clean off the stick, and I leave this here for the next time I'm going to fill up my cup here. The cups have their own screens in here, so any debris that might have fallen in here now gets filtered from the screen. So no more screens you need to put in there. Some people still like the added measure of a sifter, or I forgot what these things are called. I have them myself. I don't really ever use them, but these pour screens or whatever they are, I mean, I got them. I don't really ever use them. Only if I see that I'm using a very, very old product that's crusted over and it's just horrible, I'll take one of these out and use them. Really, you don't need to buy them because they're pretty much in these lids. So once you put the cap, kind of clip it around, make sure that you've clipped it all around perfectly. Take your thing here. Now, as you put the cup on, something I'll show you a quick tip that I absolutely just love about is cleaning guns. That becomes a problem. I have gone from using pigment-based products or pigment products, clear products, different types of acrylics, the polyurethanes, the lacquers, all in the same gun, and all because I know how to keep it clean because of this simple system. So what I have here is a reducer and lacquer thinner for cleaning guns. I'll finish off with the reducer because it's a specifically made product for these finishes, so it'll help clean that last product or last bit out of the gun. But for the most part, I'll use lacquer thinner, and then I use this tray. This tray is amazing because what you're going to do is you're going to take the gun, you're going to pour your lacquer thinner into the gun, pull the trigger, and just flush everything out. As it goes, flush it out. And then usually you can take these, or what I like to do is take the cleaning brushes, kind of clean off any edges that might be in there, pull the trigger, let it pour out. A simple of, literally, that's all the lacquer thinner I use right there. That's it to clean this gun before I use it. Now, just doing that, we have now cleaned the gun that easily. We used maybe about that much lacquer thinner, very little. When people are used to cleaning whole cups that they'll have, like aluminum cups, they'll put a bunch of thinner in there, they'll clean it, they'll do whatever. It just, you wasted so much thinner just to do that. When this thinner sitting in this bottle stays fresh, it doesn't evaporate, and then you end up losing a lot of your thinner over time. Where do we put the cap? So there's that. And then the final step to not contaminate the product, I'm going to use a reducer. And in a different bottle, obviously I have it marked. Spray some in there, let it wash around, empty it out, and that's it. Now the gun has lost any kind of contamination that's inside of it from a different product or from the lacquer thinner causing any type of an issue. So now this gun is perfectly clean without having to take it apart. And now I'm going on to my product. I'll depress the trigger, push it all the way down, and then a quarter turn, and it's locked. Not going anywhere. So, show you, that's pretty much my process of preparing to do finishes. As you can see, the last part of this that I want to show you, that this tray, pouring that lacquer thinner into this tray disperses it across and it just evaporates. Now, there's no disposing of the product because you used very little to put into a can and let it disperse, and it just evaporates and it's gone. What's left in here is, I'm telling you, maybe 2 years of just pigments from different products that it's the solids that are left. Everything else is evaporated and gone. So there's no big messes that you got here. You just have some sticks here. I mean, ones I've used different products. Some of these I can throw away now because I don't really need them. But yeah, that's pretty much the process in a nutshell. It's helped me a lot. Hopefully something out of all these is going to help you with your finishing, because if you understand what I'm telling you here, finishing is it's an annoying process if you're not a professional finisher strictly. You know, this you do it all day long, you know, in the ins and outs, but when you're switching from one type of a project to another, and you're learning different aspects of all of these projects, from building cabinetry, fine woodworking, and then you get into finishing, it's like, you know, this is a whole nother animal. It's completely different, and you got to understand this process in order to understand the whole scope to finish things properly. Now, I don't want this to step on anyone's toes. Everyone has their methods of how they do things. You know, maybe there's something I do that somebody else does differently. That's even better. The great thing is, you know, soak this in. If there's something that you like in this, that you understand, like, hey, that's going to work for me, or that's going to help improve my system, you know, great. The great thing is, put the knowledge out there, let people soak it in and see what they're going to do with it. So, yeah, hopefully this video helps.